We're joined now by the TV voice of the Houston Astros. A lot of fans upset that you're not calling these games, of course.
Matt, I would love to be. Kind of goes with the territory, though. The radio guys continue on in the postseason. The TV guys give way to the national crews.
Couldn't they just slide over and have you and Blummer help out a little bit?
You know what they do, like national championship games for college football and basketball? They do have different broadcasts from the local teams.
Right.
I would love that in the World Series, and maybe it will be someday, but for now we sit in the stands and cheer just like all the other Astros fans.
All right. Now, I always have the picture in my mind of you as a little boy and your dad when he was the voice of the Astros working at Channel 11, but he had a long-term relationship with Philadelphia, and he is beloved in Philadelphia. So I want to talk a little bit about the callous relationship, Astros and Phillies, and how special this is for you.
Yeah, this is as good as it gets for me. I mean, obviously, if Dad was still here, we'd be trash talking right now about who was going to win the series. And we did that in 08. I got a chance when Tampa Bay played the Phillies in 08 to go head-to-head with Dad, and we actually called an inning together on the Phillies broadcast. So that was super cool. That was probably the highlight of my career. And here we are, 14 years later, they still play his song of high hopes after games when they win on the big board in Philadelphia. And it's going to be cool to go back. I still have a lot of family and friends in that area, people that I grew up with my whole life still live there. I was one of the few people from high school that left the Philly area, so it's going to be a nice little homecoming for me next week in Philly.
Well, when I think of Phillies Astros, I think back of 1980 because that was a great team the Astros had, a great team the Phillies had. Of course, the Phillies go on and win the World Series, but what memories do you have? Harry was calling the Phillies games back then, I know that.
Yeah, he did get to call the NLCS that year, and then in '80 they didn't call the World Series. So the last time when he called against Tampa Bay in 08, that was the first time he called the final out of a World Series. But I remember '80 was phenomenal. The last 4 games all went extra innings. One of the great 5-game series ever played between the Astros and the Phillies. And back then I was a 14-year-old screaming my head off, for Mike Schmidt and Bob Boone and Greg Luzinski, Larry Bowen, Gary Maddox, the whole crew. So Pete Rose, yeah, it was a great series. Could have gone either way, and I did feel that whoever won that series was going to beat Kansas City, and that's the way it worked out. But the Astrodome was blowing the roof off the place in those final couple of days, and it was just a great series. And here we are rematched from 08 to 22, or excuse me, from 80 to 22.
Okay, yeah, 42 years later. Yeah. So put your analyst hat on. How do you evaluate this?
Phillies have a very good offense. They're hot. They're hot like the Nationals were in 19, like the Braves were in 21. So that's
a concern.
A little scary, Matt, because NL East teams that get hot have fared well against the Astros. But the Astros are the better team. They were the better team for the 6 months of the regular season. They haven't lost in the postseason. They're as deep a pitching staff as anybody in the league, and maybe the best deepest pitching staff I've seen in Astros 6 years that I've been here. So I think that's the difference. Pitching and defense wins championship, and I will put the Astros pitching and defense up against anybody.
All right, let's pick a number. I'm picking Astros in 6. What do you think?
6 is a good number. I think if the Phillies get a game here in Houston, it goes 6. I think if they don't, we might not see a game 6 here in Houston. It's going to be crazy, though, because next week, if they do come back, Eagles-Texans Thursday, game 6 here Friday. It's going to be a lot of Philly versus Houston.
Todd, thank you so much.
All right, Matt.
He is the TV face, the voice of Houston Astros baseball. And thanks for watching on KHOU 11+.